for that welcome. Well, my name's Tonya. Here's a little information, you can stare at it for a while. I'm the founder of GUI, which, if you don't know, GUI stands for Ghost Haunts of Oklahoma and Urban Legend Investigations. We've been investigating claims for probably the past 12 years in the state of Oklahoma. So what I'm going to say is, like Terry said earlier, you start out as a real hardcore believer. You believe in all kinds of stuff. Well, after a certain amount of time, some people say you become jaded. Well, I just think you get smarter. You start breaking things down and you're like, okay, that is just totally not what people think it is. So you just get more education the longer you do this. But yeah, I'm at googly.org. It's kind of under construction, but everything's still there. It's kind of a mess. And I also blog for News OK, and it's called Paranormal Eyes, and I am a slacker when it comes to blogging because, I just do it on the side and all that stuff. It's not a paid gig by any means. And so I have a skeptical approach when it comes to this stuff. So if I offend you or anything like that, I apologize in advance. I don't want to make you not believe in what you believe in because it's your right to believe in whatever you want to believe in. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This presentation, I'm going to kind of buzz through it because what I like to do the most is I do specialize in EVP. If you don't know what EVP is, it's electronic voice phenomenon. Those are those voices that get caught on tape where you don't hear them at the moment, and you go home and play back your audio, and then there's other people talking. So that's what I specialize in, and it's a lot of fun because to me, it's a lot of recognition on a psychology level of what and who is actually their demeanor and all that. So I'm going to kind of bust through my little visual presentation and get straight to the EVP because that's always fun to be able to listen to those voices. Okay, paranormal research, I'm not going to read everything to you, but pretty much what paranormal research is finding things that you can't explain. It's not finding things that look and smell and taste and feel like a ghost. It's finding things that you really, really can't explain. So I am a paranormal researcher. I don't like to be called a ghost hunter. I don't go trouncing around causing, yelling at ghosts and flexing muscles and all that stuff. But, I do like to do as much research as possible. I love psychology. I'm not into the tech stuff, the gadgets and all that. More power to those people, but that's just really not me. You guys are part of a paranormal culture. When I spoke at UCO, we talked about, I spoke at a college to a whole bunch of cultural class and 300 students in there, and they wanted to know why the paranormal field was so popular. Pretty much, that's it. Stuff that's been passed on through media. That's where the cultures evolve. And you are part of it, I'm part of it, it's okay. Nothing's bad with liking this stuff because you might have your own personal experience and then you want just some validation or to be around other people where you're comfortable talking about it. So for whatever reason, you are part of the paranormal culture scene, which is today. Okay. Big part of paranormal culture is stuff that you see on TV. Now, I know that a lot of you watch these shows, right? A lot of them are very, very familiar. And I will admit, I watch Ghost Adventures because there's cute guys. And they're fun. They're a lot of fun to watch. They're not like, Jane Grant, who's really boring in my opinion. They're in there, they're doing their own work, they're trying to get a reaction. A lot of it's off the hook and a little dramatic, but it's fun. It's a fun show. And we do watch it. Me and my children, we watch it together and we crack up. So it's a lot of fun. Now when it comes to their evidence, and I'm not impressed, but I'll still watch them. And you know, we always count, see how many times Zach flexes his muscles on the show. But the cool thing is like the Psychic Kids and Most Haunted and the Ghost Lab and all of this stuff, and even the short-lived The Other Siders. Do any of you remember that show with the kids? The kids would go in and do the investigations, which proves to you that anybody can do this. I mean, I'm just waiting for monkeys to have a TV show. So, but pretty much, out of all these shows, which shows do you think is like legit? Like 100% they're really doing research and all that? You can just speak up. Any of them? The difference between these television shows and reality is that these are for entertainment. And separating entertainment from reality, a lot of people struggle with. Even teens in Oklahoma have problems separating these. They believe that if their teen can become more like what they see on TV, that they're going to be more popular, get more cases, get more activity, get more everything. Well, that's not the case. That's just they've been sucked into paranormal culture and they're living it. In reality, like our team, we don't have matching t-shirts. And a lot of people who know me also may know me as a ghost diva. And if you don't, then don't worry about it. But the thing is we don't endorse the t-shirt thing, because all that is, you know, you're creating this like identity, but we're not. We're regular people. I've had the same people on my team. I've got a few new ones. But if you're looking for that, there's a lot of teams out there that will hook you up with that lifestyle. We're the boring people that actually do research, and we show up in regular clothes, and we go do our thing, and we really don't market and sell ourselves. So, yeah, just kind of keep an eye. You probably know of some people, and not that it's bad, it's just they've really gotten into the culture. And really quick, like I said, I'm not a gadget person, but I am going to say this. A lot of people say that science is this. This is not science, it's technology. So I want people to start thinking outside of the box, out of, oh, that's scientific because they have tons of stuff. This means they just have a lot of gadgets. None of it's been proven to work, and it looks impressive, it looks scientific, because people associate high-tech scientific stuff with things they don't understand. Well, all of this stuff, a child can operate it, 100%, and understand it. If your kid can use an iPhone, they can use this. It's not science. It's just gadgets. But I'm not a big fan of this. I know a lot of people love this stuff, and they are fun. But it doesn't mean that it's science. It's just technology. Part of the culture is getting your vehicle branded, and you know, if you want to spend the money and do all that stuff, which a lot of people do, that's fine. But in my opinion, it's just like the mystery machine down there. You know, you're just advertising what you're doing, and actually paranormal research is not a marketable thing. You're not going to make a lot of money. I've written a book, Terry's written a book, we've all written these books. None of us are millionaires, none of us. So you know, I'm like, what are you doing? If you got the money below, that's fine. But the coolest one is the hearse. I like the hearse. So just kind of keep an eye on, that's more of the culture coming to life. And here is another thing while you're surfing the internet. Look for gimmicks when you're looking up teams. See what kind of gimmick they're holding on to. The ghost chicks, you know, and actually this is the reality of the ghost chicks. That name's been used several times. There's a fourth person in the ghost chicks team. She's not as attractive as those three girls, and she's gone. That's sad. And she's probably the smartest of them all. And then of course the ghosts, whatever, the little guys flipping you off and all that. You know, if you want to be a bad attitude and, hey, we're going to go in and, you know, just be jerks to ghosts or whatever. But there's a lot of gimmicks. You know, the Chicago Paranormal Detectives, they were on A&E. Did anybody actually watch that show? Did you like it? I've heard mixed things, and I'm sure it was different, but honestly, I've watched some clips on YouTube because I don't watch a lot of television or paranormal television. But I've heard it was just horrible. And that what it is, it's one of those gimmick things that just keep an eye out for this stuff. And you'll be like, oh, there's a gimmick. Oh, you know, marketing, blah. And Dead Zone, that was just an awful show. Here's some really quick familiar words. I'm not going to read them all. But you'll hear a lot of this in the paranormal film. Demons stands out. That's the new thing. It's like an iPhone. Now it's cool to have demons. I've been doing this for 12 years. I've come across some really pissy ghosts, or just jerks of people, and they're still jerks when they're dead. I've never come across a demon that I know of. Now I've heard things, and I've got even some EVPs of some things that I'm like, if there is such thing as a demon, and they want to communicate with you, I think I got the voice up, but I don't know. But all of these are just play words that people will, they're actually become household words now. I mean, everybody knows what this stuff stands for. And the word debunked is kind of funny because it's not an actual word. I think it might be in Wikipedia now, but it's not a real word. And I think good friend Troy Taylor brought that word to light, and then everybody just adopted it. So there's some familiar words. And really quick, just if you want to just yell it out or whatever, if you had to go pick a house to investigate, would you pick A or would you pick B?
B.
So we're at 50-50 here.
It's pretty
B is fantastic because it looks haunted. It looks really creepy. No telling what's going on there. A is just a regular house. It's got a nice view. But yeah, I mean, people are going to go for B because it has that trigger where it looks creepy, it looks mysterious, and this is where we got to go. Well, reality is house A is where you need to go. I would still go to B and take some pictures, but honestly, this is the case behind house A. And I know people who would just flat out not even give this a second chance because the house is too normal. If they took the time and started pulling some history, voila. A totally unsolved mystery. This is in California, by the way, but I mean, it's a really good example of this is what happens when you do your research. You don't know why a house could be haunted. And it's so important for you to ask these questions. Or if you have a house and you have weird stuff going on, start digging because you don't know. So instead of just saying, oh, it doesn't look haunted or smell haunted or whatever, really start digging. This is a really weird case, and you can find it online. And it's still unsolved. Nobody knows what happened to it. And they've been leasing out the house, and as far as I know, there's no reports of paranormal activity. But that would be a good example of, well, hell yeah, the place is haunted. Okay, this is EVP. Pretty much, my little font's messed up, but it's okay. Basically, it says it's electronically generated noises that resemble speech, but are not the result of an intentional voice recording or renderings. This is a very accurate definition in my opinion. Because a lot of people, like when you watch Ghost Adventures, they'll tell you what you're hearing on the screen. And that drives me crazy. Every once in a while, they have a really good EVP on that show. And they go to some great places, and I'm like, why didn't they get anything there? That blows my mind. Well, they're too busy doing everything else. They're not allowing the place to do what it needs to do. But basically, resembles speech. So keep that in mind. Is it really a voice, or is it just some random noise that you're creating this in your mind that it's saying, help me or get out or whatever? When it comes, a lot of people have heard the theory that, oh, it's coming in from radio transmissions and airplanes and blah, 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 blah. Well, I've tried to test this out as much as I possibly can, and I've yet to get over, pick up walkie-talkies or, an airplane or I've yet to do that. And I've been doing this for 12 years. 12 years and a lot of reporting, not one single vertical landing, not one. And I live in Moore. I live really close to the airport. There should be no reason why I wouldn't get some stuff. There's actually another small airport in Norman. So that whole theory of that, I think that's a skeptic's cop-out of saying, I can't explain this. Someone said, oh, it's transmission from an airplane. Just say, no, I need more than that. You need to break it down why this isn't what I'm saying it is. I'm pretty picky when it comes to EVP. Ask any of my team members. If it doesn't sound like a person, it probably isn't an EVP, and I won't even put it on the internet. Because I'm like, no, I can't hear anything. But we do get some really good EVP at times, and it's very, very, very rare. And the new thing is a lot of teams are going out. They're like, we got 500 EVPs at this location. I'm like, no, you didn't. And they believe it. They really think that they're getting tons of EVPs. Well, for one, they're using crappy digital recorders. I still prefer old school cassette players with magnetic tape because I've got the best EVP on a standard desktop tape recorder with old school cassette tape. When you start going in technology, and technology's not perfect, it's just technology, that's where a lot of flaw is going to come up. And then you're going to get noises, you're going to get feedback. There's cell phone towers everywhere, there's all kinds of stuff where it can interfere it to or create a static noise to where you could say, it's saying my name is Mary or something. So don't just think because it's something odd that it's an EVP. Really, really set your standards high when it comes to that. Have a lot of you recorded for EVP anywhere at any point? Just show of hands. Because I'm blind, because that light's really, okay. It's quite a few of you. There is a classification, so while you're watching these television shows, please keep in mind that there is a classification scale. If you want this, you can go to ghoulie.org. It's right there if you ever just want to keep it by when you're watching TV or even watching stuff on YouTube. Class A. A lot of people say we got Class A, Class A, Class A. No, it's not Class A. This is the definition of Class A. Perfectly clear. Meaning no one has to question or second guess what it's saying. Meaning everybody in the room is saying, that's what it said. No questions whatsoever. And it makes sense to the location where if there is a rumor of a ghost woman, you actually got the ghost woman responding to you. Not some little kid, not some demon man. You got the woman. It makes sense to the location. And the most important, which goes against Ghost Adventures code, there's no enhancements required. You should never amp it up. You should never clean it up. You should never do anything to a Class A EVP. You should be able to put it on your computer as is and do nothing more. That is it. Class B, I'm just going to point it out, 80% clear and audible. It can be random, or a lot of people like to say residual, where you get something that just doesn't make sense, but it's real dated. And I have some examples of Class A and Class B. Class C, you may need to sit there and listen to it about 1,000 times, but you know it's saying something. You're sitting it off, getting second opinions, third opinions, fourth opinions, and I highly recommend that you do that. Don't ever take one person's, don't ever take their interpretation as gospel, ever. Send it to other people because they may be hearing something completely different. The quality's poor, and you may need to adjust some volume for clarity, but you should never ever enhance an EVP. You should never have to clean it up to a point to where it sounds completely different. And a lot of this, like little as seen on TV symbol, Class G for garbage. If you got to do all of that and have subtitles and all that stuff, just move on. It's not an EVP. Nice try. Don't insult my intelligence anymore. Oh, that's it. Here, I'm going to, okay, whatever, we're going to leave that up. We're going to play some EVP. And we're going to play the EVP. I'm going to let you hear it. I'm not going to tell you what it says. Then, I'm going to talk about the EVP and let you know what we think it says, and then we're going to play it back. And I know it's kind of against the whole thing, but you know, we're at a conference, there really isn't a whole lot you can do. And it's fun. So we're just going to kind of bust it through so you'll get to hear each EVP 2 times. If you want to hear it again, speak up. I mean, seriously, be like, hey, play it again. So we're going to go ahead and play the first EVP. Could you hear, like, talking and all that stuff? And there's a lot of background noise. And that's from a cassette tape player. Well, that's a classic EVP, and I'll explain why. But there's a lot of noise because it has not been cleaned up. But you'll be able to hear, once I tell you again, and it's clear, I know you heard it, you just don't know what you heard yet. You will hear me and another person speaking about a crawl space, and she's actually describing the crawl space. And what you'll hear is a voice of a child and saying, oh sure, mm-hmm. And remember the little demon thing I brought up, you know, if there is demons? I have actually this child's voice on tape 2 times. And the sarcasm levels are way up here. And if you're a lost child and you're a ghost and looking for help, why would you be sarcastic? That's a really good question. So that is the only reason, because I'm like, if you were really a little kid and you wanted help, which apparently this woman was claiming these children all needed help, this kid is pretty sarcastic, and you'll get to hear it in the other EVP too. So if you're going to play that one again. Did you hear it that time? So that's a Class A EVP. It's not the best quality in the whole wide world, but it's very, very clear. And the weirdness of it is the sarcasm that's associated with this kid. And we got this kid twice. So if you want to play the next one. Okay, that one also is not the best quality, but it is a Class A EVP. And it's kind of getting some, it's like loud. I'm not used to them being this loud, because the sound system here is awesome. But you will hear a man, and this is when a recorder was sitting alone in a bedroom, and you hear a man, and he says, you thought you could record me, didn't you? So we'll play it again. And we did record him. Play it again, okay. Pretty creepy. And if we did clean it up, it would sound a little better, but honestly, I don't like the way things sound. Because what you're hearing, all that static and that noise, is the white noise. That's what the room sounded like. So it's very loud, but there's no digital alien noises, you know, feeding over that EVP. So we got that EVP, and that was probably the only EVP we got at that location. And when the owners heard it, I mean, they were just like, that's the guy, and they were freaking out. And normally we don't like to freak people out, but they were already freaked out, and they ended up moving and stuff anyway. But
where was that?
It was actually in Ghostlahoma. And yeah, the people that live there now found their house, which we don't put that information up anymore on the internet, But it doesn't have an address or anything, but they found their house on the internet. And every once in a while, they'll send me an email, everything's good, no ghosts or anything like that. So it's kind of funny. So it just, I do believe that some people are haunted, and they just bring them with them wherever they go. If you want to play the next one. There's your sarcastic little kid again. Did you hear that one? Were you able to make it out? It says me too, why not? And which is really weird because it's not, a helpless little ghost child that wants your help. It's sarcasm. I have a teenager and a tween. I know what sarcasm is. They're both girls too. So yeah, we'll play it again and you can just sense the sarcasm in their voice. So I didn't go back to that house because I'm like, for one, I have no patience for snarky little kids anyway. So I don't want to go back and help you. I know that sounds mean, but honestly, it's a big, long story. I don't want to deal with it. I think the woman, Lucille, she was there. It was a really weird situation. I think the woman was bringing stuff in, and she was nuts. So I don't deal with crazy, and I've never dealt with crazy. If I think someone is mentally unstable, I don't deal with them. And I'm not a doctor, but I've been doing this long enough to know that there's some crazy people out there, and they are hearing voices in their head. They really are, but we can't get them on tape. So, if you want to play the next one. I know you heard that. And what's so funny is that this guy right there is Mr. Skeptic, 100%. We were doing photography one day in this old armory in Reno, Oklahoma. And we're just in there taking photos. I always take my tape recorder with me, always. And I just had it sitting down. Well, I went down to check on, and you can see spiders all over the place. It's dead of summer. I mean, there's spiders everywhere. So Scott and I are talking about spiders. There's nobody else in the building, and it's nice and quiet. We're just in there. It's daytime, doing pictures, minding our own business, and you can hear this man say spiders. And if you listen really close, we'll play this one 2 times. The man's voice, you can hear me, because I'm talking about spiders as well. The man's voice overlaps Scott's voice. And he doesn't lie, he doesn't believe in any of this anyway, he just goes to take pictures of these places that we go to. And yeah, it's right there, and he still doesn't know. So ask Scott what he thinks. So play it again. So yeah, that's how you shut skeptics up. You take them out with you in a place that you know you're going to get EVP. I know you're going to get EVP at that place. I've gotten several really great EVPs that you'll be able to hear today from this place. So the cool thing is, it was just us two. Nobody else was in there. And so that's how you keep the skeptics quiet. You're like, yeah, prove it. Tell me, what was this? So that's always a fun one. And I'm going to tell you right now, you will get the best EVP the moment you stop trying to get EVP. If you really focus on something else, if you're painting your house and you think you have a ghost there, you're cleaning or something like that, that's the best time to set up the recorder. Stop trying to get EVP and quit talking to the freaking room like somebody's there. Because if I was alive and you're yelling at me, saying, what year were you born? I'd be like, whatever, I'm not talking to you. I would not speak to them, because it's rude. You don't talk to people like that. If you believe that ghosts were people once, you wouldn't speak to them like that at all. So if you just be normal 100% and just not think about it, that's how you get the really great EVP. So